Hello. Hello. Today I want to talk to you about Outer Wilds. Hello. Today I want to talk to you about Outer Wilds, but if you haven't played the game, I don't want to spoil anything about it for you. I guess it's technically impossible to not spoil it, as technically even describing the game at all could be considered a spoiler. But I'll do my best not to spoil anything more than the description of the game. My highest recommendation is that you go out and play the game before watching this video. If you've already played the game, this video is actually for you. You can only ever once experience something for the first time. And this game's first time experience is maybe the best first time experience I've had with any work of art. If you doubt that this game is that good, play it. If you still disagree after that, I mean, subjectivity is a thing, so please play the game is the main thing I'm trying to get at here before I actually start talking about the game. If you do have a vague knowledge of like the first hour, I'm not spoiling anything beyond that, but still. If you have ever in the past watched the trailer for a movie and thought it looked dull, only to later on hear a spoiler that makes you wish you watched it without knowing that spoiler, it's like that. So just trust me and all of the other YouTube essayists who have also made a video trying to get you to play this game without spoiling anything. We're not all lying. Outer Wilds is a solar system simulating archaeologist explorational open world puzzle game, and I can never play it again. After writing out this entire essay, I did have to reconsider, what is a spoiler? Do I show you any gameplay? If I only show you the first 20 minutes of the game, does that count as spoilers? Is the Steam description spoilers? Yes. Is telling you the emotional response this game gave me a spoiler? Again, I would say yes. So how then do I sell you on this game? If the emotional response is a spoiler, then I'll start by talking about just how cool this game is. The main reason why I'm wanting to talk about this game is because of the emotional impact, but don't let that detract from just how cool this game also is. It's one of the smartest puzzle games I've ever played. Making an open world puzzle game sounds like an impossible task, as it could lead to often getting stuck and having to backtrack to somewhere else. And with it being an entire solar system, I could imagine that would get very obnoxious. However, the game gives you enough places to go, even in one planet, that even if you can't progress in one direction, not too far away there's another place you can actually make some progress towards. The game gives you a small collection of tools that you can use that see a surprising amount of use for how simple they immediately seem. You might think, this is an open world puzzle game, that can't be that difficult to make. The Witness already did that, which is kind of true, but The Witness's open world just leads you to self-contained zones that you don't really need to leave and find more information elsewhere before going to. Early on, You will have no idea where you're meant to go because you don't have a where to go. Just explore. The spaceship you fly around in, while a lot to handle at first, becomes such an extension of the self that by the end of the game you will be speeding into a planet's atmosphere and making the fastest landing you can, and it's incredibly satisfying. The game does actually simulate an entire solar system, and every planet does have its own gravity that it imposes on other planets and on you. And that's also incredibly cool. Visually, every planet also is distinct enough to make you want to go there and explore it. Every planet has multiple immediately visible points of interest that you will want to get to, and not all of them will be immediately accessible, and that will be part of the challenge. The reason why I can't replay this game again is because it can only be gone through once. You might be saying, well, it's a puzzle game. Eventually you'll forget the solutions and then just play it again. But that's wrong. It can only be experienced once because you don't know what your goal is at the start. You don't know what you're even working towards or what could even be an ending of this game. And I'll never forget not knowing what I am even working towards, and I'll never forget what I was working towards. It's not the puzzles that make this game so good, and I'm not bashing the puzzles when I say this. Maybe I'll forget the puzzles. I mean, I won't, but hypothetically, maybe I will. I'll always remember the rewards. You will go through a lot of goals as you play this game, some as small as getting to the other side of a locked door, others that will take multiple play sessions of chipping away at. I went where I went because I wanted to see what was there. As you explore, you will start seeing how places connect to each other and start forming your own questions, and you will need those answers. And that just pushes you further and further, and I have those answers now. I'm saying you need those answers and not the player character, because it is you who is needing those answers. It was me who was needing those answers. When you do play the game, you will eventually get stuck. But because the world is so large, you can always go somewhere else and make some more progress. And in any other game, this could be a hassle, but I just always knew there was somewhere else I could look, something more to find. The story that you are, as an archaeologist, uncovering spans generations. But like a real archaeologist, you don't know when things take place. You have context clues, you have handwriting, and the writing is smart enough that you can piece it all together. And with context clues, you can find out so many details about these people, and how they're all individually very distinct. This is easily my favorite game ever made. I will often think, damn, Kentucky Route Zero is the best game ever made, and then I'll remember, oh yeah, Outer Wilds exists, and Outer Wilds is easily better than any other video game. Hell, I'd say it's better than any other work of art, be that movie, novel, album, painting, symphony, play. And now, within the soundtrack even, I cry whenever I hear it because all of the emotions I felt throughout the game are bottled within it now. This game did give me an existential crisis while playing it, and I can't replay it. Kentucky Route Zero now keeps popping up inside my head when I'm asked, what's your favorite game? I mean, I know it's Outer Wilds without a doubt, but that experience grows further away. Every day, month, year, and eventually that will become decades. Kentucky Route Zero is a very worthy second, but it's nowhere near Outer Wilds. Other games have also given me some strong emotional responses. Pentiment did wonders to help me come to terms with growing up within the church and all I love and hate found there. But in a decade, how will I know that Outer Wilds really is my favorite work of art? I'll never be able to accurately judge if any other work of art comes alongside and tries to usurp it. How could I accurately judge that? And now this game is giving me a second existential crisis of, is it okay to grieve for an experience? At some point, the version of this game that exists in my mind won't be accurate to the one that actually exists. And maybe that's why I'm here committing my experience with this into something more permanent, something more solid. I genuinely have a deep sense of sadness that one day this might not be my favorite work of art. That someday this game will slip into the recesses of my brain enough that I wonder, did it really affect me that much? I mean, I've let things that I've loved go away before. How many of you still have the same favorite film from a year ago, 5 years ago, a decade? Maybe I should replay this game. I did replay it to capture footage. Perhaps a part of me, though, is just worried that if I played a second time, those feelings of desperation, of confusion and misunderstanding, those would be gone, and then this would be the memory I have, this different experience. And it's not even worse, it's just different. Even now, a lot of the feelings I felt in the past are distant and hard to recall because I am not the same person I was. And I think that's partially because this game has changed me. A wise man once said, can you imagine having a favorite song you only listen to once? Can you imagine hearing a song and instantly loving it so much you promise to never listen to it again? I can't say that about a song, but I can say that about Outer Wilds. I know memory is worse than real experience, but the second experience is not going to be the same. The finer details of Outer Wilds will be lost to me someday. Yes, I can still replay it, and yes, the emotional beats will still hit me, but it will be without that feeling of the sublime, without that mystery of what lies at the end. Honestly, the closest thing to playing it again for the first time is watching someone else do that. And it's strange seeing someone else have such similar reactions to what I had when it felt so personal, so distinctly mine. maybe a part of the reason why I love this game is because when I was lost or confused, I knew I could find the answer if I tried a bit harder. Even if the answers wouldn't be the answers I wanted, I could find them. And that might sound like the saddest form of escapism. This world we inhabit is concerning, upsetting, and dying. But it is beautiful. At times, I'll want to believe that answers aren't the most important thing. I don't really know what I believe. But whatever it is, when I played this game, it would provide some sense of escapism, some satisfaction to that part of me. The game's comforting in that strange way. Perhaps another comfort is that other people have played this game too and been through these same struggles. And if you do play this game, then share it with someone else, because that's the closest you'll get to playing through it again for the first time. Seeing someone else go through all of those same feelings of desperation, of confusion, and then seeing it resolve. It's something very special and unique to this game. We will now get into some spoilers, and I'll begin with just spoiling the first 20 minutes of this game. Again, play the game, stop this video, beat it, and then come back, but I can't stop you. The game begins with you waking up and seeing a spaceship that's orbiting a bluish Jupiter planet, and that spaceship explodes. Today's your first day on the job as the newest member of your species' space program. And yes, you do fly around in a wooden spaceship. You aren't the first explorer. There were many before you, and the citizens of your town tell you one of the first things you could do is meet up with all the people who came before you. The citizens function as a light tutorial telling you what tools you have and how to use them. It's charming and sweet and funny, and it makes you care about these people. It feels like a family. It feels like a home. I don't know if the aesthetic here is eco-punk, but if that's not the correct term, whatever it is, I love what this is. And you set off and go wherever you want to. You are a space explorer. And now I'm going to spoil the emotional reaction this game gave me. I won't tell you any puzzle solutions or where this thing that happened to me took place in the game or when, but I want to talk to you about one of the mysteries I tried to solve. The game didn't tell me this was the mystery I needed to solve. I decided that. I decided that this was my end goal, that this is the thing I needed to do. It gave me pieces, and I assembled them into that meaning. And that interpretation I had built, it made me angry, genuinely angry. I at first felt hopeless that I could ever reach that. I didn't see any means of getting there. And after so much trial and error, I found out how to get there. And then when I finally arrived, my anger left me immediately and was replaced with some form of sadness and some new form of being upset because I had extrapolated the meaning incorrectly. I had brought maybe my own experiences in from real life, and I just started crying for these people who I'd been so angry at minutes ago. There was so much pain, and I thought by getting to the end of this mystery, I could affect something, I could stop something, change something. And now what? I was so upset. I was swearing at the screen. Well, what am I even meant to do? I'd spent so long trying to get there, and for what? All of this effort I've been put in was just wasted now. And what was I even meant to do? And I thought about it, and collected myself, and accepted, I don't know what I meant to do, but I'll keep going, because I have to. My little planet's over there. My friends are over there. Everyone I grew up with is over there. I'll keep exploring. I haven't seen everything yet. And maybe that can be enough. And that wasn't the first time the game did that to me. And it wasn't the last. I feel lucky that my favorite game of all time got DLC. The trailer for The Echoes of the Eye showed that it was going to be darker and more tense, maybe even a little bit horror. And this game is better for having that DLC. It asks you questions about the base game, and I saw myself in it. I don't like horror, or at least I don't like most horror, but the possibility of it being a horror for some reason excited me. After making me change the way I think about everything, it felt like it was asking me, do you really believe what you've learned? By taking me out of my comfort zone, I had to say that I do believe these things. So when I got to the ending of the DLC, I've never felt so much. I don't know what the emotion is for it. On September 6th, 2023, I was at Disneyland. My two favorite rides at the time were the Matterhorn and Thunder Mountain Railroad. My memory of that day is mostly just us waiting in line for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and then we get up to the station and there's one person in front of us, one seat remaining, and he turns to me, my brother, and my mom and says, there's only one of me to fill that next seat, and three of you. You can go first, I'll get the next train. And I would have been happy to be next. I would have gotten first choice. I would have taken the front seat, and I loved the front seat. We rode it, and as always, my brother and I insisted to our mom that we go on it again. So we walked around to the front, and they said it was closed for maintenance. We were late that day picking up my dad from work. Traffic was bad. And when we picked him up, he was horrified and upset. 1 dead, 10 injured, on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. A decade later, I would read about that incident. The person who died was sitting in the front seat, crushed when the train in front of them malfunctioned in a tunnel. and it would have been me. Someone else unknowingly said to my family, "You get to live." And I want to thank whoever that was. I don't know if he took the front seat. I'm sad for these people that came before me, thankful for what they did, and everything they built for me to be here. I'm blessed to be alive. I'll never know everything that was done for me so that I might be here today. I know I'll never ride a roller coaster again. Or just a speck in the whole of time. And while I feel anger due to climate anxiety, I am here. I feel like this game has made me a better, more empathetic person, more caring for those around me, and I hope this is true. I wrote this last segment for a novel I wrote. I wrote this the day after I beat the game. Somewhere in the first half of 2021, when I still lived in California. So I'd like to read that to you. Yesterday, I cried again. Beauty overwhelmed me and left me defenseless. I've never had a work of art make me question my entire being and beliefs, made me look in the face of both beauty and terror of the whole universe, and I guess this is what the sublime is. Outer Wilds might be the greatest game ever made. With the inevitable fact of the second death, why do I do anything? Is it wrong that I laugh at the hopefully far-off heat death? I think that I feel that I live out of spite towards the second death. A middle finger raised to the pointlessness of everything. Occasionally I think everything is a great joke that God wants us to laugh at with him. When you think about how many different steps had to fall into place around you for this one little thing to go wrong, and you trace it back a full week, in hindsight, isn't it kind of funny? Those horrid camping experiences that you regret every choice of, that's forgotten when you get to tell that story for the 5th time and you laugh. The only other option for me to believe is that everything is beautiful and that beauty might in some way balance out hate. Like sitting on the roof watching the sunrise on Easter morning, or that relief that comes with peeing after holding it in for the entire runtime of Thor: The Dark World. Even that feeling of looking around an empty house and knowing I will never see you again from the inside. Remembering all the pain you felt and thinking, why do I feel like I miss you already? I can't always do that, however. It could be the same reason I only think to pray when I'm in need, or what causes me to only appreciate the little things right before or right after a long separation. I wish I was better at seeing the beauty and humor in everything. I want to believe it is always there and not just some quantum possibility that my observation manifests into a reality. Fuck, am I just a newborn who thinks good things disappear when they play peekaboo with me? I disagree with Christians that heaven alone should be my reason to live well in the face of the second death. If it was, I think the Bible would say more about heaven and less about living well. I don't think hell is enough reason either, for the same reasons. I guess I sometimes believe in God because I do. I doubt God because I do. I cry at beauty because life is short, and I would be lying if I said I was certain of what was on the other side. I hate moving goalposts because I can never measure up to them. I work for money to pay what I must to have to survive, so I can go to work and repeat the loop, and I know retirement isn't an option for me. I cannot have an Ouroboros of a self-goal. Instead, I need a self-sufficient telos. A thing I do must be worth doing in itself. And that's all I wrote.